Hey, it's James, Fathers Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I want to talk about consultations with me and the importance of them, kind of what to expect, and, the importance, the value of them. So, one thing that I'm kind of gathering is that, people kind of look at a consultation as a nice little bonus or an afterthought. And the thing about a consultation with me is, well, first and foremost, you got to look at it like you need to know everything that you need to know to get on the offensive and go to war right now. Right now in your case. Whether you just got served court papers, blindsided with the restraining order, whether you had temporary orders a couple years ago, whether you had a final order a few years ago and you're thinking about going back to modify. You need to know everything that you need to know right now. And wherever you're at, there's always stuff to do. There's discovery to do. There's preparation for your trial coming up down the road. Or there's ways to deal with people or deal with schools or medical facilities. Other people aren't giving you records. And the other violating decision making. And, custody orders or visitation or relocation coming up. You need to know everything that you need to know right now. And you can really only do that talking one-on-one with somebody who knows what they're talking about. If you have a lawyer and you're in the dark about anything, your lawyer should be briefing you all your options, not just, well, this is the way the court is and this is your only option. There's never any, this is your only option. In criminal court, you could cop a plea, you could surrender, you could take a case to trial, you could get on the offensive and have your attorney do depositions and grill the crap out of all the witnesses before they go to trial. Or you could plead guilty. And, be at the mercy of the judge. When you're, I keep talking to people who, they talk to me and they want to do all the talking and tell me their story. Telling me your story doesn't help me help you. Sitting and listening to your whole history and story, that's for a therapist. Usually when I'm talking to somebody, all I need is to get a couple of questions across, and then I can say, tell me about this and tell me about that. I don't need to know every detail of your ex's favorite ice cream, or that you're a high school sweetheart and you used to hold hands on recess in middle school and all that there's 90% of what, think about it. Not to be offensive, but just the reality. If you're coming to me, you're totally lost. I won in the Court of Appeals a couple times. I fought off 7 bogus attempts at restraining orders by my baby's mom and 4 bogus attempts of an ex-girlfriend after I got a domestic violence protection order against her. I won my first try at contempt. I got 5 days a week visitation by myself when attorneys told me you'll only get every other weekend. And then I got full custody in 7 months. The thing was with me, as soon as I found a guy who knew what he was talking about, I wanted to meet with him as much as possible and get as much information as possible. So I'm not telling you guys to do something I didn't do myself. The other day, there was a guy texting me for like off and on for an hour. How do I know you know what you're talking about? I got conned by these attorneys. I just spent money on an attorney today. Well, why the hell are you talking to people who don't show you their winning orders and track record? And then you're questioning me when I show you my winning orders in the Court of Appeals you can look at, or my winning contempt. See, men are doing stuff so backwards out here. Here I am, somebody who won in court. I've helped hundreds of guys, and then when we go through the excuses, like, how come you're not fighting for the kid? How come you're not doing contempt? How come you're letting the mother keep the kids from you? Why don't you just go pick them up from school or whatever? Excuse after, I'm scared, confrontation, this and that. What do you know, James? How many times you've been in court? When was the last time you've been in court? I was in court for 20 years and won over. Now I won some and lost some. But even if I just won one hearing against an attorney with 50 years experience, or the other attorney who had 17, and I destroyed guardian ad litems, I have a track record that almost nobody can talk about out here. And then, on top, there are guys out there who know more than me who are doing all this deep legal insight, but they're not out here putting it out there and letting people know. They're hiding in the woods like Yoda because they don't want to be out there. Or they're not really out here helping guys. So I overwhelmingly prove that I know what I'm talking about. So there's no question whether I know what I'm talking about. I can be a resource to you. I stopped counting at 300 guys, the number of guys who got full custody without an attorney that I help with. Thousands of others getting 50-50, doing better after they come on board. I show you guys testimonials. There's no question about it. The only thing that's stopping you is your hesitation and your fear. But you need to know, at least, at the very least, even if you got information from me and you didn't act upon it, at least you have enough information to make an informed decision sitting down with your attorney and trying to get your attorney to do what you need to do. Every single person I've ever talked to in the history of dealing with this since 2001 got something out of a conversation with me, except there's one guy who complained on YouTube that he called me up and I was of no use to him. But the guy got 3 consults with me. He's just mad. He wrote that comment after I didn't give him a free 30 minutes over the phone. He's trying to text me and ask me a bunch of questions. I'm like, dude, you need to pay for a consult. Then he got butthurt and pissed. Then he said his 3 consultations that he had with me, he didn't do most of what I said. And he was losing over and over. And then later he taunted me saying, well, I won. So, and then he won something. But he was using the information that I gave him. So, you know, I could say everybody, but I'll throw that out there because there's a guy on YouTube. I didn't even delete his comment because I don't care, because it shows just how crazy my gender is sometimes. But you need to know everything that you need to know. If you're playing chess, like I was starting to say, if you're playing chess, you need to know how every piece moves or you're totally lost. If you only know how the king and queen move and the rook, you still got 3 or 4 other pieces you don't know how they operate. If you're a quarterback and you don't know all the plays or the reads on defense or what everybody's role is, or you're a head coach, you're going to be totally lost if you don't know the game plan. How can you go into a court of law and not know what you're doing and just hope? Do you go into a job interview and not know what your qualifications are? Do you go into a sales pitch and try and sell somebody on a product that you haven't fully studied? If you're a mechanic, do you only know how to do a lube oil and filter, and you're working at a dealership in the parts and labor department, in the service department? You need to know everything about that car from head to toe. How can you do anything in life, and not know everything about what you're doing? If you're a football player, you don't know all the rules. You could make a penalty that costs your team some yardage or cost your team the game. How can you go into a court of law that is complex and confusing and then walk in there and not even try and learn everything about your rights? Why do you not care about your rights? I'll get a consult with James down the road. Like, people hit me up and text me all the time. I love your videos. I'm going to get a consult and I'm going to do this. What's really going on with me is this and that, blah, 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 blah. Dude, you think I got time just to read everybody's story, some total stranger randomly texting me? I'm here to help people who want help. Not people who are going to pussyfoot around, play games. I don't even want anybody's flattery. I'm here to help when people want help. I don't have time to sit and text people and convince them overwhelmingly to make sure they feel good in their feelings because they were a dumbass and paid 5 different attorneys $10,000 each and didn't wake up after the first attorney screwed them over. When I called a father's rights law firm, they said you get every other weekend. I said I live next to my baby's mom, 3 blocks away. I'm going to work at night. And they said you'll still get every other weekend. I knew that was a dumbass, stupid, moronic, airheaded legal strategy. So I hung up the phone. There was no chance for me to talk to them ever again. I didn't say, well, you're an attorney and I better bow down and listen to you because I'm a sheep and I'm just going to follow whatever you say. There's no way that you can, outside of a consult, there's no way that you can learn the specifics of your case. Stuff that you're missing, stuff your attorney missed. I had a guy who I was talking to. He has all these dreams of grandeur, of fighting jurisdiction of the court, of going to the U.S. Supreme Court, of willingness to go to jail and not paying child support or revealing finances and stuff like that. And he doesn't even know what discovery is. He doesn't know anything about trial. So he's got his kid right in front of his face that he needs to rescue. But he wants to sue everybody and do all this stuff outside of court. Why don't you guys turn that energy you have outside? And a lot of you guys are like that. Why don't you turn that energy outside of court and learn how to get your kid now and get a consult where you can learn precise, specific information about your case, the laws in your state, how to look at that stuff, and all the options given your particular situation. Only in a consult can you get that.